I'm gonna start this one with a little harness cleanup. Take out the harness out the engine bay. This was the main fuse box and relay box that goes in the engine bay on the right side. So we take that out and we strip everything off it. Take out all the indicator lights, all the side lights, the old AC relay, old AC harness, fan wires, and every single piece of wiring that you could take off of that other than the headlights. So basically we only got the two headlight wires and the connection here and the power to power it. I think this is the alternator. One is the alternator wire. This is the power for the power the fuse box, and this is the alternator wires to make it charge. Now this is the case with the harness now. The butt heads I got put to the harness, two harness ends, two butt heads. So my partner Danny was here helping me the other day also. What we did was the main wires that went into the engine bay run to the butt head, and all the other outputs and inputs that would run in the car and not go to the outside of the car, you ran to these small butt heads and these small connectors. So what it would do is come off of these then and branch off where it has to branch off. That way it don't have to go inside the harness all the time when they want to splice in for input or output or get a connection from anything. I would just connect to the other side of these bolt heads then and pull the output or the input off of the other side of this, and that would make it simpler and a lot easier when it comes to the wiring and the tying up the harness. So anyway, alright, so that's basically it for the harness. So what we'll do is try to install it there now, and it's just a finish clean up the outside engine bay harness now. We got 3 sets of small different harnesses, because I got the secondary injectors. I think I got another harness there, but I'll go into the main harness for the air intake temp. This is the main harness for the injectors and coil packs, etc. Then it still had a small speed sensor harness, and there was enough different little harnesses mixed up, so that way so we'll put all of them together then on one butt head and make it a lot simpler and a lot cleaner. No, I went and got 4 brand new injector connectors. Also got a coolant temp sensor connector, because it was always prone to break off, and I'm pretty sure the one on this harness wasn't in the best of condition either. So I'll put on a new connector on that. I bought 4 brand new injector connectors because I really like how the ones on this harness look either. So I changed 4 of those. Bought a brand new crimp tool. I ain't too good with the crimping, but I will get there. So as you go right now to finish cleaning up the harness now. The butt heads are installed on the car. So one there and the other one on the above side where the original harness comes out. I gotta get some proper bolts and nuts to bolt them in. That's the only thing. So they're just rough finished right now, just to put them in place to make sure the wires and everything length under the right lengths and distances. But everything else working. Headlights working. I check the headlights to make sure the fuse box and all the other wires I cut out and hinder anything else from coming on. So the headlights, brake lights, all the other lights working. So it's just the engine harness now I gotta start out. Alright, so I feel that was the end of my harness construction for secondary injectors. Put new connectors on those. These ones for primary injectors, coil path igniter, new coolant sensor plug, TPS, air temp sensor, camera crank sensor signal, and 2 main bolt heads. So basically everything done wired in. I also included, just because I don't really fancy them, but I feel like I can try it at some point. The boost solenoid, I wired into the harness also, because so I made to the point where I gotta go some boost by gear or something, I ain't sure yet. This is the speed sensor plug. I got speed sensor on the right front wheel, somewhere over that side. So I wire that into the harness also. Right, so the harness done. It was actually constructed on the engine and everything lines up. The next order of business now is just to lift back in the engine most lately. I actually got the flywheel. Yeah. Alright, so as usual, Barry at Matt Start came through for us again. This is the ACT twin plate, twin disc centered iron clutch. Of course, it's not the first unboxing. Throat bearing, clutch alignment tool. Come with some box doubles. Alright. So in all it is about, supposed to be 15-16 pounds in total weight. Alright, so we got a billet aluminum cover. And you got the piece through like the pressure plate goes on. Top this, you see how light and small it is. It's centered iron. Actually, it kind of reminds me basically as the same thing as brake pads. Seems feel like the same material as brake pads. And your flywheel, full chromoly flywheel. I gotta put it on the scale and see how much it weighs, because honestly, it don't feel like it weighs anything at all. It gotta be less than 10 or just about 10 pounds or so. So what you're gonna do is just start up the harness, put them aside, put all this aside, finish the harness and rest back in the engine. I actually got a couple more things to do too. I gotta take off the exhaust manifold. Let me see. I got my EGTs to install actually. I actually forgot about those. My TC4 Plus thermocouple amplifier is for the EGT sensors to run to the ECU. They got individual EGT sensors. So it was just to take off the manifold and drill the holes and weld in the sensors. But I feel I'm gonna take off the box and actually got to pull on the gearbox. No, I didn't remember that day either. Got to pull on the box and swap out the parts from the other damaged box, my LSD and most of the gear clusters, because I'm not too sure the condition of the clusters of this box. So I guess when I pull on, I'll be able to see. What I'm gonna do is take my time now and pull apart this box, see what else is damaged or what isn't damaged. So we got one box done. Everything looked pretty clean and nice. But now one box pulled on, on to the next box now. Then disassemble that, transfer these parts, my LSD and the gear clusters, and ensure the condition of those gear clusters will put that box. So Alright, the only main damage I see so far, second gear, synchro completely dead. And the hub got enough burr on the inside of it. So for sure this will have to be crashing in second gear. It also had in a welded viscous, but it's the center diff open still, but it still got the it got welded viscous. The viscous was torn apart and welded up the same way. So mostly it had direct drive front and back, but the center diff itself is still open. So that's usually the weak spot in these boxes. You launch your car hard and things center diff is shackle out. I had that problem I think twice that happened to me. Make sure everything plays in position. Press the two clusters next to each other. Make sure to take the two. Make sure the two sliders, everything all lined up. Crave LSD. I had the option between the Crave and the calves. Just decided to go with Crave instead. I'm going to do the rest in, throw it there into the box and disassemble the clutch packs now. This got to be one of the sexiest flywheels that ACT ever made. I'll get caught up in it. Alright, so I know I missed a couple shots in between with resting on the box and lifting in the engine, but things was happening so fast. I had to move fast. So everything in so far, just resting, it ain't fully bolted up or anything. So over the course of the past couple days, do some small things and just lift off the manifold with the turbo. Them heat blankets has caused these things to rust so bad. I don't feel like I put it back on. I gotta work to get them bolts off of there. So let me see the harness on. Actually, almost all the harness installed. 2 butt heads on. One there. All the harness connected. So what I'm gonna do is just put the EGT sensors inside the manifold and get that out of the way, then I can rest that back on. It will be just to finish wire up the inside and wire up the inputs and outputs to the small little butt heads that on the ECU. Alright, so this is as far as I get now. A couple of things I had to do. One was change up the mount that was here. Because when I reposition the engine, when I put back in everything, put back in the drive shaft, I realized no, Lord, the drive shaft a little too long. Because the engine like it actually went back a little more, maybe I would say maybe a ½ inch or so. So what I had to do was take out the rubber mount, and if you look now, the mount is actually higher than the center of the mount. So you actually had to, this is the original Teflon mount from the other L-shaped mount that was there, and that was offset a bit too. It wasn't centered. So I used back that mount then and machine it to put inside of this mount bracket. So that actually bring the engine up maybe ½ inch or so and bring it forward. So the drive shaft actually has play back and forth now as opposed to resting straight onto the transfer case. But other than that, everything else up, everything else running. The radiator just resting. It's not connected or anything as yet. But it's starting, driving, drive shaft axles, everything in. I did the plumbing last night, so everything is plumbed right up. Your temp is something underneath. Blow off valve, of course, put back in my single fogger for the matrix. Can't leave that out. The only main big issue that I have is two actually of my injectors are stuck on the primary rail. So I actually had to shift from primary to secondary rail to run the secondary rail as the primaries for now, so they could change out those injectors. But other than that, the clutch feels good, everything else feels nice, everything else smooth. Also cleaned up the inside of the car a bit. Put a relay panel down bottom with my EGT amplifier, and I also remounted the ECU and changed up some the harness and wires down bottom. Let me see if it starts. Alright, so that's the point that I am at the moment. Not much more to really do. Just run through a couple things, get the injector sorted out, finish up back up a lot of the outputs and inputs, because like the launch control and flat shift and other things I had installed, I haven't wired back up as yet. It's just making sure the car is starting. The EGT is wired, all the EGTs wired, all the EGTs working, etc. One of my wire bands were also hit, so got to get back a wire band for the ECU. I think that should be it. The injectors, the wire band. Just wire back at the outputs then, and we should be ready to hit the dyno, hopefully.